Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Friday and welcome back to VEDA. VEDA stands for Vlog Every Day in April, and we are on day 24. The final time we'll be recording a VEDA video on a Friday. And I think from every episode till the end of VEDA next Thursday. Always gonna start it out on a somber note. But we're gonna do our best up until the very end. So, considering that it's Friday, and I don't know why I thought of this, but a lot of movies tend to come out on Fridays. I want to speak on something like a lot of the things I've been talking about. One thing I've noticed about this damn month is I've been doing a lot of videos that people have been asking me to do for the longest time. Say for a video that starts with an I and ends with a Y. Say for that one. But today, what I want to talk to you guys about is something that has really bothered me as far as the gaming industry goes, as far as the film industry goes. And this is not necessarily addressing Hollywood in general, but this is more talking about gamers, fans. More often than not, I'm sure as you guys have seen, whenever a video game is taken out of its, I guess you could say, its culture and presented to an audience that's not familiar with gaming, more often than not, we kind of become the butt of everybody's jokes. When you see how gaming is portrayed in the media, if we're not suicidal maniacs who are planning school shootings, then we are lazy, sloppy basement dwellers who have no type of social skills whatsoever, who can't interact with anybody. Everything has to be a joke involving a video game, level up puns, whatever. I mean, you've seen the Law and Order episodes on gaming. That's basically it. That combined with the Spike VGA awards and stuff like that. A lot of people are wondering why gamers don't get a lot of respect in the mass media, in the mainstream culture. And for a while, I think it was attributed to the fact that Hollywood just doesn't understand the medium, which is true. When you have these big movie studios coming in to try to make a couple of bucks off of a popular iconic franchise, usually they just use vague references from the particular source material, slap something together, a poorly written script, and then, hey, there you go. There's your movie. And I apologize for the Facebook notifications going on in the background if you do hear them. Yeah, I seriously gotta shut that. For fuck's sake, seriously! That's the one thing I hate about the Messenger app. You can't turn off notifications all the way. It's only for 24 hours. You can only mute combos, but why would you mute combos if you... Whatever. But yeah, so Hollywood, for the longest time, obviously we know that they have no interest whatsoever in really fully adapting the gaming culture to the mainstream in a positive way. More often than not, they take the stereotypical route. And by the stereotypical route, like the points I mentioned earlier, they just portray it as they think people see gaming as. So, for the mass media, they see gamers as sloppy, lazy, overweight, no personal hygiene, people who are basement dwellers, no social interactions whatsoever. The stereotype that has pretty much been attributed to the nerd or the geek since the 1960s. I mean, you saw it all over the place. But as you guys have seen in the past 30 years or so, that is not necessarily the case. Gamers come from all walks of life, from all races, ethnicities, genders. You can walk on the street and see somebody and not even know they're a gamer. So why do they keep using the stereotype? It's because, for the most part, we let them. We let them continue making a fool of us. And what do I mean by that? I mean that gamers, not saying all of them, but I'm saying it's a pretty good majority, gamers, when they see something that they don't like let's keep this in the realm of movies. Take, for example, the Resident Evil movies, right? The first Resident Evil movie dropped. It wasn't horrible. It really wasn't. But at the same time, it wasn't good. It was only passable. And that was if you were just considering it like a okay horror movie. But as fans of the Resident Evil franchise, we knew we expect better, especially because we've gotten some pretty good stories. So we see that they're basically making a mockery out of this beloved franchise. Normally, what we would do is just not support the movies. like normal people. You see something you don't like, you don't support it. But we gave money to the sequel, and the sequel to the sequel, and it got a fourth movie, and it got a fifth movie, and now it's getting a sixth movie. Transformers, switching from gaming to definite pop culture. A lot of people know who the Transformers are. The first Michael Bay movie came out. Again, like Resident Evil, it wasn't horrible, but at the same time, considering the animated series that we had gotten, considering the comics and everything we've gotten beforehand, we deserved better. And the sequel came out. It was horrific, but people gave money to it. The third movie came out. Not as bad, but still really bad. And you're only looking at it if you're, damage controlling for it. Grossed over $1 billion. And you would think that after the trilogy, after the Transformers movies, which really aren't Transformers movies, you would think that people would stop giving money to things that they don't like, because these are not good movies. Critically, and even if you're looking into them with rose-colored glasses, seeing what you want to see, they're not good movies. Same thing with the Resident Evil films. They're not. But then a fourth one drops, and from the trailers, we see things that are just so blatantly wrong. Characters not acting as they should. Shit just happening just cuz. And it grosses over $1 billion. And now there are talks about a fifth one. So the reason why I bring this up is that for all the people out there who are complaining that we're not being represented correctly, why are they taking our beloved franchises and shitting on them? You guys are to blame. You guys. And again, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying there's a very good majority. And the very good majority falls into this particular camp. Number one, these are the people who say that, well, you can't judge a movie without seeing it. So for all the trailers, all the production notes, everything you see, casting calls, ideas that the director's talking about, you can't judge a movie based on all of that stuff. Concrete details and evidence that we've seen that show that it strays greatly from the source material. You can't judge it until you actually see the movie. And the second camp that they fall into is, why are you guys complaining? You should be grateful that they even made one in the first place. That is why Hollywood gets to do the things that they do. Because you guys are so easily impressed. You guys do not put your foot on the ground. You don't do that. You don't say no. Just because you're a fan of something doesn't mean you should go and support something that you know is wrong. And never use the excuse that, well, we have to support the first one so they can do better with the sequel. Really? So, all the Resident Evil movies. Yeah. The Transformers movies. Yeah. And with this new Ninja Turtles movie that's coming out, everybody's saying that, well, yeah, sure, it's not Ninja Turtles, but it's kind of fun if you just go into it expecting mindless garbage. So this is what it's devolved to. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a fantastic franchise. Great legacy from animated series, mind the new one, from animated series to a spectacular run by IDW. If you guys haven't checked out the Ninja Turtles comics by IDW, it's some of the best stuff that's out right now, easily topping things that Marvel and DC are doing. So, with this movie that's coming out, the sequel, you see things that you don't like. And yet people are blindly supporting it because they cast Arrow in it. So it must be decent. Guys, that is the problem. Hollywood has become self-aware. They know that you guys are going to see these movies anyway. Why? Because you have such weak constitutions. You really do, and don't deny it. If you're sitting here and saying, well, gee, man, I mean, I don't want to see it, but all my friends are seeing it. Oh, what am I going to talk to them about? See, Hollywood doesn't care what you think about the movie after you've seen it. They really don't. The only time that I think Hollywood has ever cared about something is after the backlash of Spider-Man 3. and Iron Man 3. That's basically it. But every other time, once you spent your $10, $12, $13 on a movie ticket, they don't care. They don't. It's all they care about is the money that the movie made. Which is why bad films are more likely to get sequels if they've grossed a lot of money than good films. Everybody's asking, why didn't Dredd get a sequel? Why didn't Dredd get a sequel? Because the same people who are complaining that Hollywood has run out of original ideas, all Hollywood is putting out is just generic garbage and crap, these are the same people who would go and see the Transformers movies, would go and see the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movies, would go and see the Resident Evil movies, just because they exist, just because they support it, just because we could be getting something worse. That is why we're not going to get any good movies in Hollywood. Because of you guys. And granted, it's not just gamers or, comic book fans or whatever who are supporting garbage. There is definitely a majority of people out there, the mainstream culture, who doesn't know any better. Obviously, that is true. A lot of it does come from them, because then they see a trailer, they're like, oh, that looks kind of cool, and they go and see it, and they're like, oh, that was kind of crappy. But for the most part, fans actually do play a part in it too. And I honestly don't like to say that. But the more and more as time goes on, people accept things that they know are wrong, that they know are going to be bad. There are so many red flags up the wazoo. But regardless of that, they're still going to see it. And they're still going to support it. Why? Because it's my franchise. Why? Because it can't get any worse than this. Why? Because I just want to have fun with it. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about for today's VEDA episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm GS signing out, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.